So you can always inject these things into a business, no matter what type of business you have. Obviously, the physical things like home services, things like that, the warranties become more obvious. But in a services business, not as in building stuff, but doing stuff for people, the risk that you're going to take on is if something goes wrong, if something is delayed, if it's more difficult than expected. These are all things that you can choose to take on for a premium. Now, finally, no matter what you pay me, very tough to have as a business. But I would say the way to think about this is control of the money flow. And so if you move up the pyramid, like a franchisor typically will have an agreement where they control the money. Now, some franchises are structured differently. The better franchises, they get paid and then remit payment, the remainder, to their franchisees. A different company, a business like that is like payment processing. Payment processors always get paid. Why? They control the money flow, right? You process your card, they take their slice, and then they remit payment. And so you can still move your way up here. Now you could make an argument when X happens, as in like when I process a payment, this occurs. But I think that as we're moving up this thing, it's like, is there a world where they don't get paid? Not really. And so this is how I think about increasing leverage within the business. Is just simply shifting around where the risk sits. And if there's risk that's on the table that isn't accounted for, that I'm comfortable taking, I'll always want to take it on because it's typically mispriced. People will be willing to give you way more money than you think the risk is really worth because people are always afraid. Jeff Bezos said this and I love it. He said, humans overestimate the downside and underestimate the upside. And if you think about this from a tax perspective, Peter Lynch, who was one of the best traders of all time, he had 30% compounded returns for like 15 plus years. He said, when you think about investing, he said, a stock can only go to zero. He said, but it can go infinitely high in the other direction. And so if you buy it at $10, all you can lose is $10. He said, but it could become $1,000. And so in thinking about, this is the part that people misprice risk, is that they count in number of failures rather than the absolute return. And so if you have, and this is also a Jeff Bezos quote, and notice that there's a common theme among really good entrepreneurs is that they understand risk better than most people, which typically means that most people don't take enough of it. The story that I start my first book with, I'll read it to you because I think it's fucking awesome. Who doesn't want to read it, right? Outsized returns come from betting against conventional wisdom, and conventional wisdom is usually right. Given a 10% chance of 100 times payoff, you should take that bet every time, but you're still going to be wrong 9 times out of 10. Now, we all know if you swing for the fences, you're going to strike out a lot, but you're also going to hit some home runs. The difference between baseball and business, however, is that baseball has a truncated outcome distribution. When you swing, no matter how well you connect with the ball, the most runs you can get is 4. In business, every once in a while, when you step up to the plate, you can score 1,000 runs. This long-tail distribution of returns is why it's important to be bold. Big winners pay for so many experiments. We take risk to get reward. Like, we have to take risk in order to get reward. And where you get best rewarded is where the world perceives you to be taking on far more risk than you really are, which you only really have happen when you're either lucky or you're good.